everybody. Welcome back. Today is Christmas Day.
If we scheduled it correctly.
If we scheduled it correctly.
and YouTube released it on autopilot because no one is paying attention. I'm sorry.
Yeah, everyone's out. We're recording this ahead of time. So
I would tell you to post memes, but then the algorithm would punish your account for that.
Yeah.
So maybe don't do that.
You say everybody's out. I don't know if these people necessarily get that day off. Do they?
No.
They might. I don't know. We can't say for sure. But I would say that if there's one place where you might not.
Amazon workers strike at 7 U.S. sites during the year's busiest period. And the quote from the leader was, "These greedy executives had every chance to show decency and respect." Amazon really wants you to behave like a robot and work until your joints are powder. And everybody, all of us know different people that have worked at Amazon, and they all have very similar experiences. It takes a certain special kind of person to be able to endure that level of physical production requirement. It's a lot.
So this is the Teamsters. Not every warehouse is a Teamsters warehouse. I think it was 7, maybe.
Yeah, 7.
Amazon replied and said, yeah, these people don't matter. You're still going to get your packages. Don't worry. They might be downplaying it, but it's definitely not crippling.
There are a lot of robots in these warehouses, and there will soon be more robots than ever in these warehouses. But also we know from other stories we've covered in years gone by that Amazon has had internal memos like, we have employed basically every able-bodied person that is looking for this kind of a job. We don't have enough warm bodies to keep up with demand for the level of engagement that we require from our warehouse workers.
And end of the year, you got to have your end of the year best of lists. This one is not the best of.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Association data shows 5 of the most fatal car brands, and Tesla is number 1.
What a terrible clickbait headline.
They changed the headline because it was saying Tesla was number 1, and now it's...
Kia is a very close second, though.
Yeah.
So part of the dispute here from Tesla is that people are misusing self-driving. But you know that thing...
It's almost like they called it self-driving to make you think you cannot drive the car.
Well, you know how we've done the story? We've done the stories a couple of times where the reporters have said, hey, I've uncovered a smoking gun, where in some accidents, self-driving was disengaged like 10 to 30 seconds before the accident. Did the self-driving disengage before the driver had a chance to react, kind of thing, as like a smoking gun? And so that actually is working against Tesla in this case, because it's like, oh, okay, well, we'll take the numbers out for full self-driving, and it doesn't improve that stat very much. Because, it may have been in use 30 seconds before the collision.
Another meme from this year was that technology needs to become a subscription. Microsoft doesn't want you to have your own hardware. They want you in the cloud. Everybody wants you in the cloud. Apple was trying to get on that train, but it seems like it's not even going to leave the station.
The Verge's headline is Apple reportedly won't launch an iPhone subscription service. Apple no longer developing the service due to software issues and regulatory concerns. Bloomberg's Mark Grumman reports.
But the second one was the big one.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Regulatory concerns. The genesis of this idea seems to have been with Goldman Sachs. You remember the Goldman Sachs-Apple partnership? It was like, you can trade in your phone, and then we can sell secondhand iPhones that have been traded in from this program to the poors. And so everybody can have an iPhone, and this will be a great way to do it. But even in reality, it doesn't work like that. And no.
The hot product is definitely not the iPhone. In fact, people more and more don't care about it, which is smart because it's terrible value. Everybody wants Nvidia GPUs, but who wants them the most?
Financial Times headline is Microsoft acquires twice as many Nvidia AI chips as tech rivals.
Microsoft is a greedy boy this Christmas.
But also Tesla. Tesla got a lot.
There's no room under that tree. It's all GPUs.
Or X or whatever organization bought them.
There's
all of Musk's organizations.
There's a chart, but we're paywalled out of it. But FT uses JavaScript for their paywall. Pro tip. You can go look at it. And I think Microsoft was double.
Yeah.
A lot. They bought a lot. And if you are making the pledge in 2025 to no longer be a slave to the cloud, and store your own media, maybe this should be under your tree.
Seagate launches the 32 terabyte Exos M hard drive based on HAMR technology. Mosaic 3 Plus drives are the world's first generally available heat-assisted magnetic recording hard drives. Tom's Hardware has the scoop. Of course, that means that you can now get 20 terabyte hard drives on fire sale from discount outlets like serverpartdeals.com.
It's a lot of storage.
Yeah.
Not really for the home user.
Well, I mean, if I can get 20 terabyte hard drives for like $200, that seems pretty good.
Well, I'm hesitant to talk about battery technology.
We had a whole section about energy and the nonsense. Come on.
But, well, that's nonsense. But this one, they claim, has been running for 6 years, continuously charging and discharging, and I say it's amazing.
New type of battery could outlast EVs and still be used for grid energy storage. And so this has some really amazing, if nothing else, close-up photography of how cells age. And what it is that, what is it? There's a term for it. The article doesn't use it, where it's like a mix, and it's not an amalgam, but it's like a bunch of different like material are mixed together. Well, it turns out you can grow that like a crystal as a solid instead of it being mixed like this. And when it's grown as a solid, it's able to endure the physical stress of charge and discharge a lot better than the microscopic photograph in the article. And that is what helps it last 10 times the number of charge cycles before its capacity is reduced to 80%.
More than 10, right? So you see here, they get kind of like these little frost heaves. The charge and discharge breaks it apart. But the new version is resistant to that.
Because it's a solid.
I think they said it was way more than 10 times.
Was it?
Is this I'm imagining, you know how like we lost the secret to Roman concrete years and years ago?
It lasted more than 20,000 cycles before it was at 80% capacity.
But the old one was 2,400.
Yeah, it's about 10 times.
All right. And fusion power. The future is now.
Well, no, this okay. I mean, but wait a minute. What? When did we? I thought that if you were behind fusion, you were a crackpot.
No, but the data centers need it.
Now business needs it.
The timing is a bit suspect, isn't it?
The rich people need it.
To be fair, they don't actually have energy surplus fusion, but they think they have a plan.
World's first, quote unquote, grid-scale nuclear fusion power plant announced in the U.S. So this tiny little thing is going to produce 500 megawatts, which really isn't a lot of power, but is a crap load of power for that tiny little thing. So this is the company that spun out of MIT in 2018 and has been, like a slow accretion, has been gathering funds. They've got $2 billion right now, and they're building in Virginia. So I guess Virginia is for fusion lovers.
Well, they asked them, they were like, why did you choose Virginia? And they're like, well, Virginia has a strong commitment to green energy, and we feel like, you know, the people here are accepting of that. And that's all a lie. It's because of the government data centers.
Yeah.
That's where the customer is. All of your information that's being siphoned and used for AI training, it's in Virginia.
Yeah, do you have any idea the military application of that tiny little reactor being able to produce 500 megawatts? But also I could see why this might have been kept under wrap for so long, because that tiny little reactor can produce 500 megawatts. That's going to upend a lot of industries.
You might say that Virginia is for lovers of surveillance. And another lover of surveillance is Microsoft Windows. But that's not the only thing they love. Perhaps their first and truest love is advertising.
Microsoft confirms ads for Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Windows 11. Here's how to turn them off. For now. Don't worry.
They'll make it so you can't. Yeah.
The next Windows update will definitely reset that preference. Oh, the Windows update's resetting the preferences again. Oops, we didn't mean to do that.
Did we do a story about how a lot of the artwork for that game was also AI generated?
Yeah.
I can't remember if we covered that or not.
Yeah, it's the darkest timeline.
Now, they did the whole Amazon Prime Grubhub thing. And I was like, I'm curious. Let me see what this would cost. Because I think they actually will bring it to my, out of the way place if it's Grubhub. And the markup was staggering.
Insane.
It was incredible. and they should be put out of business for that reason alone. But that's not why they're being put out of business. Well, actually, this is not going to come near putting them out of business. They're just getting a little slap.
The Reuters headline is Grubhub is going to pay a $25 million fine for misleading customers, restaurants, and drivers because it was telling all of the different people different prices. It's like the software has to be engineered that way. Somebody, it's like, wait, should we do this? Is this a thing? Yeah, that was not kosher.
Because as a restaurant owner, you don't want to see that people are being billed more than you're charging them. That's terrible for your customers, but that's exactly how it works.
I bet that's really annoying too. Like, I bet you get a lot of calls where it's like, you charged me blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, I didn't charge you that. Like, that's Grubhub. But then having to explain that to someone who's, in their 60s, probably not fun.
They're lucky they didn't get the ghost kitchen.
Yeah.
Like, that whole thing is a rabbit hole.
Well, that's one hub that you should never engage with. But there's another hub that is rapidly losing spokes.
Florida is going to lose the adult hub thing access on January 20th or 15th or something because of the new Florida ID law. It's just like Australia. It's like you got to have your ID online for certain kinds of things. Got to give them a credit card, something to verify your age.
You guys are not hip to Balatro, are you?
I'm not.
I remember you playing. I think I watched you play it on stream once.
It's so good. And it's maybe one of the best deck builders ever made. A real sleeper hit. But apparently playing cards are evil.
Balatro Dev swings at PEGI for rating it 18 plus because of its quote-unquote evil playing cards and jokes that he should add microtransactions like EA Sports FC25 to lower that rating to 3 plus. He's not wrong.
Yeah, this was enjoyable to read.
And there's really there's a little bit of gambling in it. I mean, it's all based on chance and everything, but you're just playing against the score. It's like, Pac-Man. Excellent, though. You should check it out. Is it on sale for the Steam sale?
It is.
Get it now.
Yeah.
And VMware.
Oh.
We cannot go a week without a VMware rage quit. And that's exactly what we're getting here.
Ingram Micro to stop doing business with Broadcom, downgrading it to limited engagement on VMware. Yeah, can't say I blame Ingram Micro. It's definitely like if you need VMware to do your stuff, they definitely are just in your wallet doing bad things. Very upsetting things. So Ingram Micro is like, we're out. And it's wild too because Ingram Micro looked at the, we had the VMware announcement, the Broadcom announcement last week where they said, hey, we're going to make it better for our partners. Ingram Micro was still not satisfied with the new deal, and they still bailed.
Now, the new Call of Duty, it's hot. It's a big part of our culture now, I guess, right? And another big part of our culture is Madden football. And now we have people in CEO and ownership positions who grew up playing Madden football. What does that mean?
Jets owner Woody Johnson nixed Jerry Jeudy trade over Madden rating per report. Huh. Interesting.
So each player gets a rating in the Madden system. They rate their various stats. I think they've got it down here. Yeah, so through the years. Well, he's improving though, right? He went from a 75 to an 83.
If Madden himself had contributed to any of those ratings, I don't know that he should be trusted because he was referring to distances as square feet.
I can guarantee you Madden had no idea what was going on with the video game. He probably didn't care. I mean, he cared because it made him very, very rich. And when it comes to the security state, there are a lot of things that you know to look out for, but there are some that can just be blind, random chance that can screw you.
Google Street View may have solved a murder mystery as man pictured, quote-unquote, loading a body into the trunk of a car.
No, say it as it's written, into car boot.
Well, this was in Spain. And so not just this picture, there were several other pictures. Like people were, it was like there was a white bag or something.
Pretty damning.
They solved this person hacked up a body and took it somewhere.
This is hard to see. That's a wheelbarrow with the body in it. They caught that as well. Yeah, so
oops.
Tough to get away with. That's going to be hard to defend against.
Do you think he saw the Google Street View car and had a moment of panic and then was like, the chances of them noticing that?
I mean, he had his back to it and they captured quickly, so he might have missed it entirely. Not as good. Remember the dog that lived on the island? That was the
Yeah.
best
Yeah.
Street View story ever. This one's kind of sad. And digital license plates. I think that I'll pull a Wendell here. I think that we said these might be a bad idea. And what do you know?
Hackers can jailbreak digital license plates to make others pay their tolls and tickets. At that point, you have to prove that you're innocent, which is wild how that works, isn't it? It's like, well, the computer says that your car was here. It's like, that's impossible. Use your brain. Like, it's a different make, it's a different model. I don't know. The computer just says this.
The computer says it.
How do you do it? Well, it turns out there's a little sticker on that. You pop that off and you plug into it and you can reflash the firmware. And you can do whatever you want with it. It's just a digital display.
You remember the stuff that we were talking about yesterday about how it was never built to handle, and it was like built for like, law enforcement could change it or make it do whatever. There's no security. There's no security in any of this. None of this was built with you, the pleb, in mind. None of this was designed to protect anything about you because you do not matter, which is, fundamentally the wrong philosophy that any of this stuff should be built with.
So, yeah. Good luck with that. That's something you can't defend against. And here's another thing that's hard to defend against because you never know when they're around. But it turns out that these companies that are good at security don't deal with their own security very well.
Tracker firm Hapn spilled names of thousands of GPS tracking customers. Yeah, their customer database was leaked online. Oops. Oh, S3 bucket or something?
I think it was an API.
API.
So, at least you can find out if you're being tracked, right? Have I been tracked? Maybe that's a good website idea. And here is maybe the most prolific Chinese hacker in history.
Chinese hacker, part of an espionage plot, exploited 81,000 Sophos firewalls, the Department of Justice says. And this is just what the Department of Justice was able to gather evidence on, which they've not proven to be the most competent at, sadly.
Did they actually have him at this point? They've definitely charged him. There he is, Guan.
He just looks like some dude.
Well, he's not just some dude.
He looks like one, though.
That's how he gets you. He gains your trust. He gains the trust of the firewalls with his mild looks. And Microsoft has figured out that there is no security anywhere and that their security is Swiss cheese, and they're thinking of ways to do it that are going to hassle you.
Microsoft won't let customers opt out of passkey push. So Microsoft's idea here is to stop using your password anywhere, which kind of makes sense. And typing your password into insecure devices is also not a good idea because then somebody could be listening for the password and retrieve your password. And it's possible to retrieve your password even without really a high level of access to the system. For example, on a laptop, if software can listen with the microphone to you typing your password, it is possible to really narrow down the number of possibilities that your password could be. So it's not like your system would even detect that it's hacked or compromised in some way. Whereas with passkeys, it establishes a cryptographic relationship with the device. You have to authenticate one time, but then it's like, hey, your passkey is this device plus something you know, and that lets you into your account in that context. It sounds like public key cryptography, but worse and reimagined by Microsoft without using their brain.
So when you're accessing your Microsoft account, you're going to get nagged for this. You can say no for now, but they guarantee that you will keep seeing the nag until you accept. It's kind of like the Windows 11 upgrade.
I like the idea of, once I've enrolled this laptop, I have authentication with the laptop, and the laptop is authenticated against my account, but there isn't anything on the laptop that can be stolen to allow authentication in a different context. Like, that is actually a good security model. We're just not quite there with the nuts and bolts.
Now, they have confirmed that the companies themselves will be responsible for this, not the state. So let's make a quick prediction. How much time in months before this is leaked?
6.
Not even 6. I'm going to guess 3.
I'll go 8 just to be safe. Just to Price is Right it.
Uber will need to fingerprint drivers in California to transport teens. You heard it here first. The Level 1 Links with Friends headline is going to be, Uber has leaked fingerprints of thousands of drivers in California.
So California has this rule that if you're going to be trusted with teenagers, especially driving them around, they have to know who you are. And that means getting fingerprinted. But you don't just go and get fingerprinted. Uber has to deal with it and has to pay for it. So it's going to be a horrible system of, like they're going to lose them. They're going to get them wrong. It's going to be a nightmare.
They don't do that with cab drivers, do they?
The Postal Service used to do this. Like, this used to be a thing where you could go to the Postal Service and be like, I need, like, Class 2 identity verification. And the Postal Service would be like, okay.
That's a good question. Is there a minimum age to get into a yellow cab?
I didn't think so.
Didn't-
But I've only been in a cab like twice.
Didn't the kid in Home Alone use a cab?
I think
Plot hole.
I think it might be a regional thing, but I think also, like, if you're a kid, you could just go to a yellow cab and be like, I need sanctuary immediately, and they would take you to a fire station or a police station, like, no questions asked.
I bet that might be the rule. I bet the number of cab drivers that actually waste their time with that is low. Well, Rhode Island, they have
The tiniest state.
and the tiniest amount of cybersecurity too, it seems.
Hackers hit Rhode Island benefit system in major cyber attack. Personal data could be released soon. Yeah, they didn't spend any money on anything. It's bad.
Sorry
And-
if you live in Rhode Island.
And sorry if you live in Spain, because you are going to be the test bed for the coming police state. Well, I mean, we're already in the police state, but the escalation of it, the perpetual escalation.
New app lets police identify suspects in the street. This is an AI generated image, isn't it? Surely it is. Because if it isn't, whoever did the picture of the face has hidden the Guy Fawkes in the thing.
Maybe it's breaking down the
Maybe that's
quadrants.
saying more about you than perhaps the artist that you're seeing that.
Yeah,
I do kind of see it too,
Is this
but
another inadvertent Rorschach? Is that what we've done?
So yeah, they can snap your picture. Now I think body cams already have this, but I don't think they're telling us yet. Right? For sure, Target and Walmart have this.
Yeah.
well, we have a story
For
about
sure. No, but I mean not just the cameras, but the facial
that.
recognition.
Oh yeah,
Oh, the new local home goods store has it as well.
you got to
It's-
mean mug those when you see them.
If you rob a Target and you go to another Target, they're not letting you in. And there's only one way they can do that. I mean, there's maybe more than one way, but that's the easiest. And here is a terrible hack that happened a long time ago, but maybe as, processing power steps up, they're just now getting into the juicy bits.
Last pass in 2022, the hack, we covered it. Remember that? Well, the fallout continues with millions of dollars more reportedly stolen. These was cryptocurrency wallets, but these were wallets where you can store a seed phrase. So the seed phrase based on your wallet is basically the keys to your wallet, and a lot of people stored that in LastPass. Well, guess what? As the time has marched on 3 years, some people have been just running things on that continuously to try to decrypt it, and they were successful. And if you didn't move your funds from your old seed wallet to your new one, guess what? You lost your funds.
And let's all be excited because this adorable little baby spy has grown up and ready to go into the big spy world.
Israeli spyware maker Paragon bought by U.S. private equity giant, which I think was probably a secret settlement, but there's no evidence of that. Like, the feds were like, hey, you have to stop hacking U.S. citizens. Like, all right, we'll just sell you the software if you want. Oh, okay, yeah, that sounds
Oh,
good.
that's all right. Oh, here's the story.
That works out great because we want to hack U.S. citizens.
Yeah,
Oh, it's so weird.
pretty sure that's what happened.
We love that.
No evidence of that. I'm just guessing. This
And
doesn't smell right, is what I'm telling you.
anytime I talk about shoplifting, we get some commenters that's like, shoplifting isn't a real problem. That's just propaganda.
Walmart disagrees.
Everybody disagrees. Come on. I mean, it's crazy. That's why they all shut down 24 hours because, they use the excuse of the thing that happened, but they were getting killed overnight. And Walmart is desperate to stop it.
Walmart, oh no.
Oh, that's not what they said though.
Walmart is experimenting with body cameras for employees like the ones used by cops as the retail industry fends off unprecedented levels of shopper violence. Now, there are some jurisdictions where law enforcement is fairly cooperative here, and when a repeat offender, let's say, is identified and they've crossed that felony threshold, the Walmart can email law enforcement pictures and be like, hey, you want a free felony? And they're there immediately. It's not like that everywhere, but it is like that in some places.
But the reality of the situation is, because I watch a lot of body cam videos and there's a lot of shoplifting, the people just keep coming back.
Yeah.
Like they go back to the same one over and over, or they will travel the country, But like I said, there's an AI network, and they know immediately when you walk in because they facial identify you.
Do you want a high trust society? This has to be dealt with if we are going to have a high trust society.
Yeah.
It certainly seems like we want a high trust society if people are like, no, we need to censor all of our online speech because I can't think for myself.
You know what's wild is a non-trivial amount. It probably weights toward this for the videos because it's more interesting, but it's just like it's a lot of women, but like upper middle class women who are clearly just doing it for the lulz. Like they get a kick out of it. They can afford. One woman, she had a Porsche SUV, and they were like going through her cart, putting all the stuff that she stole on top of her Porsche SUV. I was like, you didn't need to do this, did you? Probably living above her means, but still, she could have made different choices.
That makes me think, though, it's like sometimes that kind of executive behavior is a thing where like they're doing that at all levels of their entire life.
I'm out of control in every other portion of my life, so I will take control back by stealing this candy bar.
Here's a question. Has Elon Musk ever stolen a candy bar?
Yes.
You think so?
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I thought there was that report that he stole his citizenship.
What about Trump?
Oh, yeah.
You think Trump shoplifted?
Remember the stories that came out about all the contractors? Like, literally no building contractor in New York will deal with him because it is always a pain in the ass to get paid.
I don't want to talk about big crimes. Big crimes are sure. I'm talking about just this changes my life not at all, but I want to take this.
Probably.
I would love to see the stats on that.
It's like the kind of person that, remember when newspapers, you would put the thing in, you open the thing, and then
Oh, he was like kind of honor system.
you're
Yeah.
supposed to take just one newspaper. Has he ever taken 2 newspapers? The answer is yes.
If he was on the front page,
Yes.
yes. I actually probably had an assistant do it.
Yeah, probably unquestionable.
Maybe that's true with candy bars as well. Maybe he was like, go steal me a candy bar, but they just went and paid for it because they're like, he's never going to know.
But he was watching, and then he fired him after.
All right, we'll see you Friday
Yeah.
with an unprecedented nonsense section.
Merry
It's
Christmas.
Christmas time.
Yeah.
Not for all of you.
But for some of you. Bye.